So here's some good news. Your brain is not fixed. Your circuits in your brain can change, and that's why your life can change. This is the most important truth about the human brain. And if you take nothing else from everything I'm telling you today, please take this home. Your brain is not a finished product. Your patterns are not permanent. Your wiring is not your destiny. Your emotional responses are also not fixed traits. Your brain is changing right now, not just metaphorically, but literally. Every thought, every emotion, every behavior, every stressor, every moment of safety, every night of sleep, every moment of overwhelm, every moment of relief, all of it is sculpting your neural circuits in your brain. And here's the part no one teaches you. Neuroplasticity works both ways. Stress rewires you. Trauma rewires you. Anxiety can rewire you. Burnout rewires you. Depression rewires you. But healing can also rewire you too. And today we're going to explain what neuroplasticity actually is and what it's not, and why your brain gets stuck in loops, and why you repeat emotional patterns you just hate, and why thinking isn't enough to change it, and why trauma imprints so deeply on us, why willpower fails, how the brain relearns safety, and how TMS accelerates neuroplasticity with beautiful precision. And this is truly the foundation of everything we do at Kind Minds. So let's begin. Here's what neuroplasticity actually is. But let's first start with what neuroplasticity is not. It's not positive thinking. It's not mindset work. It's not affirmations or meditations or habit stacking. All of those can help, but only if your brain circuits are them. Now, what neuroplasticity really is the brain's ability to change its structure, function, and pathways based on experience. So it means that neurons rewire, synapses strengthen or weaken, networks reorganize, patterns shift, new emotional responses become possible, old ones can fade, and resilience becomes learnable. Your brain is constantly remodeling itself based on repetition, intensity, emotional significance, stress, safety, attention, and stimulation. You are literally sculpting and changing your brain every day that you are alive. So why does the brain get stuck? People think they have bad habits or personality flaws or broken coping skills or low motivation or overreactions or anxiety problems or depression genes. But what they actually truly have are neural pathways that have become efficient, not good, not bad, just over practice. These are these loops that we get stuck in. And the brain gets stuck because neurons that fire together wire together. So repeated anxiety becomes automatic anxiety. Repeated shutdowns become an automatic shutdown. And then the amygdala, our threat response center, learns threat faster than it can unlearn it. So once fear is imprinted, that becomes the default pattern. The prefrontal cortex, our regulation center, tires easily under chronic stress. That means logic shuts off when emotions surge. And then survival pathways are much stronger than comfort pathways. So the brain always prioritizes protection over happiness. And then trauma creates these really sticky circuits. So your brain stays braced for impact even when the danger is gone. Burnout creates efficiency for numbness and shutdown because overextension becomes the norm. So you see, your brain is not, it's just adapting brilliantly. It's just adapting to stress instead of safety. There's this myth that thinking changed the brain alone. If thinking alone could change your brain, no one would be anxious, no one would feel stuck, no one would repeat old patterns, trauma wouldn't resurface, moods wouldn't fluctuate, burnout wouldn't happen. The real truth is this: cognition cannot override dysregulation. You can't think your way out of survival mode. You cannot logic your way out of an amygdala overfiring. You can't often talk your way out of stress circuits that have been reinforced for years. Talk therapy is incredibly powerful when the nervous system is regulated. The prefrontal cortex is online, when emotional overwhelm is manageable. But when someone is stuck, you need a tool that changes the circuitry itself on a deep neurologic level. And that's neuroplasticity. And that's also, so neuroplasticity is the reason trauma heals, but it's also the reason why it sometimes doesn't. Trauma imprints so deeply because it creates pathways that say, I am not safe. Something bad is coming. I need to stay on guard. I can't trust anyone. I must protect myself. These pathways weren't chosen, they were formed by survival. And what healing requires is safety signals, repetition of calm, emotional processing, nervous system stability, prefrontal engagement, new experiences that contradict old fear. But here's the challenge. Trauma wired circuits can overpower healing based circuits. That's why people say, I know I'm safe, but my body doesn't feel safe. Or I know it's irrational, but I can't stop the panic. I know I'm loved, but I feel alone. I know I shouldn't overreact, but I just can't help it and I can't stop. Knowledge alone isn't always enough. Circuitry controls your experience. So stress rewires the brain much faster than healing does. Let's tackle the bad news first. The brain learns fear faster than safety. It learns stress faster than calm. It learns overwhelm faster than regulation. So you can get anxious in a single moment, but you cannot unlearn anxiety in a single moment. And here's why this happens. Stress creates high intensity neural firing, which leads to rapid rewiring. Safety creates low intensity firing, which leads to slow rewiring. That's why healing feels slow, but suffering feels instant. Let's take a look at the neuroplasticity bottleneck, why people stay stuck for years, even though most people want to change. But their brain is stuck in patterns like rumination, avoid catastrophizing, panic, shutdown, irritability, emotional flooding, numbness, perfectionism, and burnout. To change these patterns, you need two things. You need a regulated nervous system so that the new patterns have somewhere to land. And then you also need enough stimulation to override that old circuitry and those old patterns so that the brain can physically rebuild itself. And that's where TMS comes in as a very powerful tool to do this. So how does TMS use neuroplasticity to rebuild your brain? TMS doesn't zap the brain. It stimulates targeted regions to strengthen the prefrontal cortex. This leads to better emotional regulation, less overwhelm, clearer thinking, better decision making, and much more resilience. It also calms the amygdala. That reduces anxiety, fewer panic responses, and creates less emotional reactivity. And then it increases neuroplasticity, so the brain becomes more able to change. Therapy works better, habits stick, emotional patterns shift, and it disrupts those negative pathways. So depression loops weaken, anxiety loops break, trauma loops calm, and burnout pathways totally reset. And the best part is it builds new pathways of calm, safety, regulation, and confidence. That's why people tell me after TMS, my brain feels different. I can finally change patterns that never budged, or I bounce back instead of spiraling, or I feel stable. And the best part, people tell me they feel like themselves again. So that's neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is really the foundation of every transformation we see in our patients. When depression lifts, that's neuroplasticity. When sleep returns, neuroplasticity. When anxiety quiets, neuroplasticity. And when someone stops reacting and starts responding, neuroplasticity. When a teen stabilizes, neuroplasticity. When a midlife woman gets her bandwidth back, neuroplasticity. When an autistic adult better tolerates transitions, also neuroplasticity. When chronic pain decreases, you guessed it, neuroplasticity. It is the mechanism behind every remarkable shift we see. Here's the most important message about neuroplasticity. Your brain is not stuck and it's not fixed. Your personality is not pathology. Your reactions are not your destiny. Your patterns are not permanent. Your wiring is not fixed. And your trauma is definitely not your identity. Your brain is plastic and malleable, and plastic brains can heal and change, and they can adapt, and they can rebuild resilience, joy, calm, and capacity. You were never broken to begin with. Your circuits were overwhelmed, and overwhelmed circuits can be rewired.